Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our YouTube channel where we are sharing today. This is our Money Talks conversation where we're sharing with you today. My name is Ruby Thomas, first of all. This is P2G Networks University. This is our Money Talk section that we do every so often. We love to drop a new gem on you and some new information with some new folks doing new things. You know what an author is. You all know what writing is about, but what they write about is the most important thing here. So, like we do with our financial literacy, it's all about what you learn, not what you already know, right? And in doing so, we're going to introduce you to a brother named Mr. T, my brother Tyrone Steele, who I know in the money game, okay, and in a tech game. And today he's now entering a new realm called authorship. He has become an author. He has created his first book called Echoes in the Matrix. And I'm trying to tell you, I'm getting caught up. I don't read books like this normally because I stick away from religion and ancient writings. I know it, I'll read it for myself, like to study, but I don't normally get as into this a book like this. Normally I'll do it if I have to. But I want to introduce to you my brother Tyrone. Tyrone, tell him who you are. How did how do we know each other? How did you get to the show?
We got together because of uh, eavesdropping, I guess. Ear hustling. That's how we hooked up because of ear hustling.
Uh-huh.
And it ended up us going to IT school or training and graduating from that school. And we've been hanging out ever since.
That's right. And we haven't just been hanging out. We've been doing business. We've been building projects.
Kind of
We've been
thing.
helping each other's business, not just each other's business, but each other's people and communities grow. Hi, you went into finance, like in the where you finance people for stuff, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, I do
Yeah.
have a brokerage where I'm getting ready to get into some new things, I should say new partnerships, and where I'll be able to help people in real estate fund their deals.
Oh, well, I could tell you this. I'm looking forward to that. And I know a lot of people are. A lot of people need funding out here, but we kind of need a little more of guidance. We got to get ourselves to where our head is in the right place, right?
Right.
Look, that's the foundation of financial literacy.
Yeah,
So
but
getting your mind straight, getting out of the whole confusion stage and getting clear on what we want.
you have to liken it to kids,
Mm.
parenting kids. You have to look at it that way because, in a sense, that's the picture that I have in my head.
Oh.
It is from what they say. We got birth certificates. Who holds the birth certificate? The birth certificate
Mm-hmm.
is held or created by the government. So that means they know everybody. They know where everybody
They
is.
know us all.
Well, at least they know you're alive, put it that way.
They know you here.
They invest in that some kind of way. They make money.
Mm.
So as a parent, you have kids.
Right. You have
The
like,
difference is between the government and the citizens of the government is with parents and children, you just train them up. You don't make any money off of them.
right.
You don't look at them as a profit or an asset. Where the
At least
government,
most people know.
yeah, the government looks at us as an asset.
If
So,
you're lucky.
right, the more we do, the more we're worth, the more money they make. And it's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing with parents and kids. But if you get a business,
That's right.
that's your child too. But this time you can turn it into an asset. You can make
Mm.
money with it. You know what I'm saying? You can do things with it you couldn't do by yourself.
Right.
Prime example,
Mhm.
the book that I have, I did it under my company name. So now not only is my company in finance, but now my company, since I published myself, uh,
Mhm.
gave all the rights to my book to my company.
Wow.
Now
Okay.
now my book is an
It's
asset.
cash flow in your it's
It's
cash
an
flow in your
asset.
company. It's an asset. Ah.
So
Well, come
by
on now. We're about to go into the metaphysical and all of that, and you done brought it right back to business. Dollars and cents.
Yeah,
I like that. I like that.
yeah. So I went to the publishing company and
Uh-huh.
instead of putting in my personal name, I put in my
Right.
company name. I put
That
my
makes sense. That makes sense. An
company,
asset under the
my
business.
company's the publisher. But
Okay.
in turn, that turns a book into an asset for the life of the company or the
I
life
was about to say, ah, we talk about moves and counter moves here, people.
check this out. Check this out. I recently I was on the opening up a Shopify store, right?
Uh-huh.
And I was like, well, wait a minute. I got to thinking. I had to go into ChatGPT to confirm it, whatever. But I put my my Shopify into my company name. So
Oh,
now that becomes an asset to the company
yes.
and makes the
Yes.
company more valuable by
Yes, it
using
does.
information instead of your personal information. Now your online businesses create
All
your
creature.
entity and make it more valuable.
That's what's up. Man, you see why I like talking to you, brother. Look, we've been out, Ty and I have been out at this building business conversation and strategies for several years. I mean, yeah, we're looking at over a decade, y'all. Over almost two. And all of this time becoming more aware that the world around us and the many, many facets. One that I never thought that my friend would call me on the phone. Well, I know in the tech world, in the my finances world, would come to me and say is that, hey, Ruby, you ever thought about, you know, what the Bible says? I was like, I ain't gonna lie. I was like, what are you smoking today? I said, this brother been smoking something. What's going on? But you know what? I realized something. I've always known you as a deep thinking brother, someone who had layers. And I'm going to share something with you. We about to blow up the world. His layers go deep, y'all, and they're effective. So in this book, Echoes from the Matrix, I'm going to put it up so you guys can see it, which by the way is on pre-sale right now for the 22nd. It'll be delivered on the 22nd in Amazon. I'm really excited. Echoes within the Matrix. It says what ancient writings really say. Now, where did that come from? I mean, Ty, all these years I've known you one way. What?
Well,
Huh?
well, here's the deal. I like this stuff. I mean, I like history. So I'm big pyramid buff and the Stonehenge and Easter Island. So I'm interested in all that stuff. It just fascinates me. But when I listen to all these archaeologists and researchers talk about what they found and what they think it means, I'm like,
Mm.
it always goes over. It doesn't go over my head, but I always thinking it's like, well, why are you trying to figure out what it means when it tells you right there?
Right.
You're
You would
looking at
think
it.
that we were listening to the words.
Yeah, you're looking at the words, and then you say, I think they mean. I was like, no, this is what they said.
He said, no, this is what
Uh,
they say,
that's
actually say.
different from what you think. You know what I'm saying? So, and then they come back and use these $10 words like allegory. So it was like I'm thinking, I was like, and they say it in almost every podcast or documentary. Allegory always comes up, and I'm like,
Mm,
why does this allegory come up? And who writes like that?
right.
You mean to tell me you only finding allegorical writings? You just so happen to be lucky enough that the writings that you found are all allegory. That doesn't make sense. So
So let's get into this. So you were talking about making very plain statements of the Bible, books like the Bible's ancient writings in under different religious beliefs around the world, correct?
yes,
And in this, what are a few, just to name a few of your resources that you use for this?
you have the Enuma Elish.
Uh-huh.
Um, of course, the Bible. Uh, there's so many of them.
Right.
Let me run down here. We just can't remember them all because
No, I just need to know a couple. I'm gonna be honest. To be honest,
coming from every.
don't give it all of them.
No,
Let them
I'll
read it
just
them.
say this. Say the Enuma Elish. These are writings, that are they already say they're like thousands of years old. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm,
they're already thousands of years old. So my thing is they must be important because they survived this long.
there, exactly. You would think, right? You really would. That's what your assumption would be.
Right. And I've always believed a lot of these researchers, they just seem to think that because it was back then, they weren't technical or technically advanced.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me. They did something we couldn't do and still can't do. We
You
can't
know,
build the pyramids. We can't recreate the pyramids.
so one of the things about religion is why I don't get too much, I don't go too far into religion, although I'm very spiritual. I wouldn't say religious. I'm a spiritual person connected to that, all that is energy and creation at all times. I believe that, I guess you would call me a multi-believer of everything at one time. If you believe it, it has to be some portion of it has to be true for you. And so while we respect the beliefs of others, we only ask that our beliefs be respected as anyone. And in that, we all find that there's a kind of a consistency in religion. Have you found consistency in religion? For me, it was control. It was conformity. Religion means, and this is mostly why I pulled myself out of the religious faith and into the action of believer. And so I look to learn from different texts. I look to learn from all the different beliefs around the world, how they move, because that's what created our world. Now, for you, Ty, what you didn't just go one room. You was like, bam, 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 bam. I'm doing it all, and you threw it all into one space that makes sense. This is a book I just want to share with you all. I have already begun to read the book. I haven't finished it, and I'm really looking forward to completing to see where he's taking us completely with this. And that's something I want to ask. I want to ask you. So I have a few questions that I want to ask about the book and your intentions for it. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, and by the way, me and him get into arguments. So if we get it pop off, don't be upset. Don't take that. Don't get triggered.
We're great debaters.
Look, I'm gonna be really honest. That's one of my best friends. He is one of a very short list of best friends, and this is one of them. And honestly speaking, if it was anybody else, I'd probably be having someone else present this, but I had to share this myself with all of you great people. All right. So one of the things I wanted to ask you is what kind of book would you define this as? Kind of a
I would say it's a
mm,
exploitative view, my personal views of
mm,
things that I've picked up over the years.
mm.
I look at it from a scientific method. I try to,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, to just purely looking at the words.
Right.
Um, Other than that, it's just I want to be a straightforward and look at it from what it is. And I don't feel like people or researchers look at it for what it's actually saying. They're
Mm-hmm.
too busy trying to interpret what they think it might be saying as opposed to what it actually said. So I will ask people to see what are things saying, um, and how it affects your life because religion affects everybody's life.
Yes,
You
it
know,
does.
what you believe is how you live your life. And,
Exactly.
you know, it's like that. Uh, my mother told me one time, she's like, I'd rather live my life thinking I'm going to heaven,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying, that there's a possibility that I can go to heaven, than
Mm-hmm.
know that there's not a heaven and
Ooh.
living and doing something knowing there's
Mm,
nowhere
mm.
else to go. So your perspective on where you might go afterward is different. You know what I'm
It
saying?
might have an effect on how you live your life, right?
Right. It does.
I
Definitely
would think it does.
does.
I would think that people who were striving for a happy place after death, which is unknown, appear to be happier on earth in life. You think?
Right.
I know my grandmother was ecstatically, beautifully happy. She had an inner peace that was unmatched. And I knew she was a believer. You know, she was a believer, but not taken by belief,
Right.
not taken by belief. And so with that, Ty, when you talked to me about this, I was like, oh Lord, where has he gone? At first, I'm like, oh, how far gone has he? But I see this as helping people find their truth in the things that they say they believe instead of the truth they've been given to believe. Is that where you were going with that?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
By using the text.
right. Everything has and everyone has an agenda somewhere. So
Mm,
it's more or less is an agenda to teach you certain things in a certain way,
hmm
or is this what it actually says to do?
Right. And I'm gonna be really honest. You know, most people don't read, and that right there, and it's a sad statement, but most people don't read because they consider the writer hasn't caught them, in my opinion. I loved reading and getting into this book because the way it reads to me is not like a textbook or a factoid. You know, I don't have like a pack of facts. I have fact placed in a conversation.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
like that. I really
That's how it
do.
supposed to be. I mean, we were just talking, saying, having a conversation, thinking about
Yeah,
other and exploring different ideas. We wasn't trying to debate each other on whether it is or isn't. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
But we're just looking at what it is.
Right. What does it say? That's it. What
Yeah.
does it say?
What does it say?
Now, I'm gonna ask you a question. This is a 16th chapter. We're 16 chapters in.
It's 12
No,
chapter,
12, 12. Sorry, 12, because I'm on the wrong thing. Which chapter is your favorite and why?
chapter 6.
Okay,
Uh,
I'm gonna read the title for that.
okay.
Eternal worship or energy entrapment. That's explosive. I don't care where you say where you say that. That right there. That right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
It's explosive.
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. And since you haven't read the book fully and we've never had this conversation before,
Mm-hmm.
where do you think, what do you think rather, most people envision heaven as being? Oh, you're talking to people. I mean,
I'm gonna go right off of what I not only hear, but what even when sometimes I get been given to it. Heaven is this beautiful ethereal place where it is brightly lit. It's boundless. I've even got the vision of the Elysian fields of a prairie, a wide flower field or grass filled space where anything is possible. We are living out our wildest dreams, and everyone is happy and at rest or doing whatever makes them happy. And people have found peace. You know, our time of work is over and we have arrived to our moment of true rest. I keep wondering what that's supposed to look like because I can't
okay.
hardly take time off right now.
Now,
Even when I'm giving time off.
now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Would you say most people have
Mm,
some semblance of that to what you just said? That's how they would envision heaven.
exactly. And that's
Okay.
where I got my version of it because I got it from the people that raised me in my community.
Okay. Well, two things. What if I told you it doesn't say that in the Bible?
Hey, you can't tell me what it said. That's what the preacher said. I'm just kidding. And unfortunately, I can tell you right now, I can't tell you word for word if I've actually delved down to find whether or not that's true. But I do know that heaven has not been described in that manner ever.
No,
It
it's
is.
never been
It has
described at
been.
all, really.
What
The
is our
only
favorite? What's our favorite word to use for heaven?
paradise.
Thank you. Exactly.
But that's a misnomenclature too, because the original definition of paradise is enclosure,
Mm.
animal enclosure.
Mm. Animal enclosure.
We went paradise changed its paradigm from an animal enclosure to a life of opulence and luxury.
Mm.
And it doesn't say that the animal enclosure was opulent. It just said it was an enclosure.
Mm.
So if
So heaven could be a paradise could be a zoo.
paradise, it could be
It
an
could be a zoo.
opulent enclosure. It could be an opulent enclosure, or it could just be an enclosure where you just hoard the cattle.
You know what I'm saying? So it could end up being a zoo or a farm.
Right, right. You know,
I ain't looking forward to that.
and
Nobody looking forward to that.
also heaven isn't boundless like you said it was, like you
Right.
envisioned it.
Now, you and I had that discussion. You
Yeah.
were saying that there in the text there was a description of it. Talk to us. We find this in the book, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
it
Tell,
tells you that the length
tell them
is.
what you told me.
I'm just saying, if you really want to look it up, it's Revelations 21 verse 16.
Okay.
It
Well,
tells you
I'm not
right
gonna go
there.
there now.
It tells you right there
Yes, I
how
am.
big heaven is.
You know I am gonna go there. Revelations what?
21 verse 16. It's the heaven then is called
Uh-huh.
the New Jerusalem.
Ah. Ooh, look at this. Right off the bat. We'll do the King James version, okay?
Right there. It tells you right there how
The
big it is.
city lies four square, and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the width, I'm sorry, and the height of it are equal. Now, with this, you do realize that there are ways to determine what the what is it what is it called? The
Dimensions?
Yeah, but if you need to know what a furlong is, all you have to do is look it up.
Basically, if I did it, I figured it out. But basically, if you take that
No, no,
measurement right there,
we gonna use Google. A
it's
furlong
about
is a
three
measure
thousand.
of
It's about
distance.
3,000 miles in all directions.
It says 660 feet.
Again,
1/8 of a mile. A
okay.
furlong. Now
Now
get this. A furlong
multiply
is
that
one
twelve
eighth
thousand
of a.
times.
That's what I'm talking about, brother. Okay, now we got to do the math of it all. Look, I keep telling y'all, I
Twelve
always get back to the
thousand.
math, y'all. I always come back to math. This is all about. Look, to me, I have found a connection between everything we have going on in life and financial literacy. I'm sorry. Call me crazy, but all this come full circle. It's numbers.
You know, I'm also a Star Trek fan.
Me too. I love that. Love me some
And
Star Trek.
you remember the Borg?
Oh yes, I do. I do remember the
What
board.
was their what
They
was
were
their
not fun.
what was their ship look like?
Looked like a cube.
What are these dimensions of heaven?
Uh, they look like a cube.
If
It
it's
says
equal
all
on all,
equal.
if it's
I'm
equal,
about to say it's all equal on all sides.
exactly. What is that?
Ooh, shadow start. Look. Now you're gonna include the aliens? Cut it out, Ty. Cut it
I'm
out.
just saying. I'm just saying. This
Ooh.
might be where they got the dimensions for
Uh-huh.
the Borg in Star Trek because it's equal on all sides.
I try to tell you this much. There are several different movies and shows that have references to boxes or some sort of square that enholds or entraps or contains existence of society.
Right.
And we gotta open our mind to the fact that this has been put in plain text and plain view of us.
Mhm.
You know, some people base their entire religious beliefs on these particular portions of writing out of the Bible. You know, the number, there's a couple of religions that believe that you'll be in the number because there's only a certain amount of people that can fit in heaven, just using the definition that you've given.
Yeah, it said
You know what I'm saying?
144,000 in the Bible. It gave a specific number.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And
Yeah.
so my question is how could we get an idea that heaven is boundless and that we all have and then we have to remember we were told that mansions were created for us. And that if everyone has the opportunity, how does he said 144,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so if 144,000, there's billions of us on the planet. I need y'all to get these numbers, okay?
Right.
Now we
Not,
got to
not
go
adding,
into the math.
not adding
If
up.
billions of us are
But
supposed
see,
to be on the planet, only 144,000, that right there is Noah's Ark by itself with human beings,
right.
okay, on a planet.
And and you would have new bodies. You wouldn't be able to recognize your people you know except by the way they act,
Oh,
and you
wow.
would be living in paradise.
Okay. Too many concepts at once.
I'm just saying that's what they preach. That's
So
what they say.
I really love this because it debunks the text to become just text, not a bunch of people's ideas, not a bunch of what we've been told or given the power of our knowledge to. You know, we trust our preachers, our pastors, our leaders to tell us the truth. But how many of us are sitting down and reading the text and finding the documentation for themselves so that we know that we're being led in the right direction? You know,
Well,
Ty?
I also don't want people to think that I'm up here doing Bible debunking. I'm not doing any of
No,
that. Well, what I'm doing is I'm taking it. It's considered an ancient writing, even though it's
right,
still in use today.
right,
Its origins is ancient. So,
right.
from the Jewish writings. So
Mm,
taking it along with all the other archaeological ancient writings that they found.
right.
And when you look at the whole group of them, they all say the same thing.
Mm. You found so in your book you find the similarities of the different texts and the
Yes.
clarity that comes with just looking at the text, not having the rendition created by the person reading it to the people.
Yeah,
And for the person who reads this book,
all these concepts are in all of this ancient writings. So,
mm-hmm.
but the one thing that's common in all of them is they all talk about a council of gods.
Okay, now we're gonna end up in trouble because that was, oh Lord, I remember. So let me let you know, we did a preview, preparation for this conversation, and we did get into the Trinity along with the multi existence of multi gods in the very beginning of the Bible, and the constant reiterating in other texts of the same, where there was not just one creator. Where did we get at what point did we get the idea that there's just one God
Well,
and not multiple creators?
I can't at the moment recall the actual writing or the text.
Mm-hmm.
There at some point was a rebellion
Ooh.
between the gods, quote unquote, the gods and humanity. And
Mm.
you see a lot of that in the Egyptian hieroglyphs on the walls when they go in these different tomb-like structures, and they
Mm-hmm.
see lots of the hieroglyphs that are or etched out or scraped away
Ooh.
to erase somebody's name or something or their activity off.
Mm. Mm.
I've always put this together. I mean, if you do the Bhagavad Gita, which is the Indian um, rendition of what's going on in their
Uh-huh.
religion, uh, they talk about these guys having wars and killing and shooting things and blowing up. I mean, to
You
the
put that in chapter 2, brother.
yeah. So what I'm just saying,
I'm really excited. Look,
all of
he,
these
he
writings
ain't
are talking about,
joking.
but no matter where you go, whether it be the India or Siberia or
Right,
Africa, anywhere
right.
around the world, South America, they always talk about gods fighting each other.
Mm.
They can't all be sitting around trying to figure out, I'm gonna write this fake story in stone
Mm-hmm.
for someone to
Mm.
find 5,000 years from now. That they can't
Yeah.
be talking about something that's they just in their imagination. It's got to be something they're putting down because they saw it and they're only
Well,
describing it the best way they know how. You know,
much like our social media. And
right,
that's the
right,
thing that this
right.
was their social media. This was
That,
their version of
right.
passing the
They're
story.
writing it down. I mean, think about it.
Mm-hmm.
The American Indians, they called thunderbirds.
Mm,
Now,
mm.
what is a thunderbird? I
A
could never
bird
know
of
what a
thunder.
thunderbird is, but when you think about where they come from,
Mm-hmm.
they know thunder from storms. When it rains, they know what a bird is. Thunder is loud. So if they talk about something specific like Thunderbird, they might be talking about some kind of loud flying aircraft
Mm.
because birds are not thunderous.
Right. True. True.
Saying,
We usually think of birds as chirping and
yeah, they
low.
chirp, yeah.
Yeah,
But if you see the shuttle take off, that's a thunderous liftoff.
that is the truth. Okay, you getting very close to talking about aliens now.
I'm just saying.
All right. So, got a question. We talk about several different, and we have some specific gods that you put into this particular book that we talked about Ankil and And
Ellen Inky.
Inky, exactly. And the relationship of the gods or so-called, deities that we know of,
Right.
in this book. Now, with these writings, I know, and you were saying you're not here to debunk the Bible. Our goal is to search, seek, and search. And I'm gonna be honest, I could see that in this book. The goal is to seek and search, find truth and proof for your journey, your individual journey, but each person who takes it. One of the things I want to say thank you is making it interesting in the writing of it, that it's more of a conversation than a textbook, because as much as I have used textbooks, I've never wanted to read one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I am not kidding you. If
Right.
a teacher assigned me a chapter, I might get into it for the data I'm looking for, but I ain't getting into it like, dang, I gotta let me get my. I can't read this right now, so let me get my Chat GPT to read it to me.
Right.
I'm not trying to set that up. I know I finish this book because I want to be able to have a good conversation about it, because this is getting my attention.
Yeah.
You did a phenomenal job with the putting this book together, and I hope more people come. I would definitely welcome a book signing or even a book club around the conversation. What would you think?
Uh, I would like that. I mean, I'm in a process now of getting the see, this is a digital format right now, but I'm in the
Right.
process now of getting it into a paperback and hardcover. So yeah, that would be interesting. I would
So perfect. So with that, we're going to keep this into the future. You'll be able to find this book. The link to this book is going on the P2G.com networks, P2Gnetworks.com website, as well as the new website coming. We want you guys to take a look at the information should have been able to read the information about the book and the description. But you also want to get to know the purpose. I have pretty much one last question.
okay.
Um, what was your purpose? Meaning, what did you want for the reader of this project? What did you want for the reader to gain for themselves from reading your book?
Clarity, um,
Mm,
uh, clarity, and I would say freedom or liberation.
mm,
See, a lot of people are, but that's in general. That's across the board. But when it comes to religion, uh,
mhm,
people are really stuck in certain mindsets.
right.
Like some people, depending on their religion or their faith, they're really hardcore in that faith. And I was okay, cool, but there are other books out there. There's other information out there. How do you know you're reading the right stuff? How do you know you're reading it the right way?
Exactly.
Since the Bible, and I'm not like I said, I only talk about the Bible, refer to the Bible as much as I do, because it's mostly what I grew up on.
Hmm.
That's
Hmm.
why I was raised Baptist. So my question started with the Bible. And as a young child, I was called blasphemous for asking these questions. And I was like, well, it's right there in the Bible. Why can't I ask
Mm,
about it? How is it blasphemous if I'm asking about something that's right there on paper? You know what I'm saying?
exactly. You would think.
Say blasphemous because they couldn't answer the question. So they try to make me feel bad for asking the question that they can't answer, even though they're looking at it in the Bible, because they've never been told it either. So, um, and with that, you're stuck. So now I'm like, what are you really worshiping if you can't explain what you're telling? If you're doing this, whatever religion it is, and someone who doesn't see it, doesn't know it, comes along and asks, hey, well, what are you reading or what are you practicing? And we're doing it, and then somebody says, well, why are you doing it that way? And you can't explain why. You have to question, what are you actually practicing, and who are you following, and what do they want from you?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I've always looked at this. So I've seen that grandma had me reading the Genesis, and the first thing I saw, they said, like us, make them in the image of us. I said, well,
But
who's us? That's my first question. Well, who is us?
well, Grandma, if they just died, why he talking
You
in
know what I'm
plural?
saying? So that's what started it. That's what started where I came from, and this is where it comes to. And then
Thank
over the
you.
years, I've gotten to watching documentaries about the pyramids,
Hmm.
because I
Hmm.
was raised to be a strong black man, and that was part of my heritage. And So I'm looking at the pharaohs and the Egyptians. So that's really cool stuff they had. And that breaks off into other civilizations and the Kushites and all of them and the wars and Cleopatra and Alexander the Great, because you can't talk about these people because they all entered Alexander the Great and Cleopatra. They was fighting each other. They was in the same time period. They was there. They knew of each other. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, everything is connected. So you have to go look at. You can't just be stuck on one religion. And if you look at all the different kinds of religions and writings around the world, they all have a root somewhere that says there's multiple of these people or beings saying these things, fighting against each other. And then over time, it matriculates down to just one person or one being, one entity. One entity is good, one entity is bad. But if you go back to the beginning of it, it wasn't just one entity, it was a group.
That's right.
It was a group. Hell, even the one of the biggest Bible stories of the fallen angels. Where, if they're truly falling, where are they coming from?
Exactly.
Right. You see what I'm saying? So it makes you wonder about these different phrases they use to describe what's going on. And it's like, okay, so why did they word it that way?
Exactly.
That makes you want to look.
So right now, I am excited for this book's development as well as it passing through. We want you guys to find this book. You will find it on Amazon. And the link, if you're having trouble, go to p2gnetworks.com and you will be able to find his link for his book in our library. We are so looking forward to helping people have this conversation. So many people are very worried about the world around them. Their faith is waning and they're very desperate and willing to do things that definitely give a lot of pause to what they believe. How about we straighten out what we believe and we start realizing how we need to really move and act on faith from just learning the text in a kind of independent way. So I'm looking forward to you. Thank you so much, Alan. Alan, his another name is A.T. Steele. That's what I'm saying. So Tyrone, Alan, I know this man as all his names because that's my brother. And I want you guys to get to know how he thinks. His mind works amazingly. And as you can see, the conversation is tight. So let's get it popping. What are we going to do? What are we going to do going forward with your book? What's your next step? So you said physical copy. And do you have any other activities that are planned for this book? Where did you want to bring it so people could find it?
You know, writing a book is a weird thing. It's one of them things where if one of your friends or somebody in your family did it and said, hey, they wrote a book, people like, yeah, that's cool. It's a nice accomplishment. You know what I'm saying? In the back of your head was like, yeah, I might write a book one day. Nah, you know what I'm saying? And you keep on going through life. Then all of a sudden, something pops up and you write a book out of nowhere. You know, and like I did, it's always been like the bottom of a bucket list type of thing where
the book,
I might get the book one day. You know what I'm saying? They do it and it's done. You be like, oh snap! So I wrote a book, and it kind of force you like, what am I gonna do next? You know what I'm saying? I'm here. So, and now I'm things are coming through my head and ideas. I'm seeing stuff, and then that little light bulb goes off. Saying, hey, this could be a part two. You know that's like, shut up. I wasn't trying to go there. I just want to look at this. You know what I'm saying? But it's in your head. Hey,
like, let's see what this does first.
Follow up for that first book. So I'm not sure how I want to go yet because I was just I did do something the other day and I was looking. I said, dang, this would be a good follow up. And
he's already writing his second book. And on that note, I want to say thank you so much for coming and sharing your book, your ideals, your mindset, and your business acumen. I'm loving it. Guys, he covered everything from business to the math to the words. What is said? What does it say? And what does that mean for you? Exactly what is said. And so I'm really excited. We get to do a little research and delve deep in. He gives you great resources for everything has the resource as to where he found it. So you too can kind of go down your own rabbit hole for it and enjoy the ride of coming to who you are the world you're in, and what you want to make of it, you know? So I thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Ty, you want to give him some love?
Guess everybody just follow your own light and follow your own truth. And like I said, read it for yourself and find out what it's supposed to mean as opposed to what they tell you it means. That's the only thing I can say to you. You know, these writings are old, so their definitions are old. So you got to find the original definitions and then read what it says. I think you'll find a different picture once you see that.
Okay. Now with that, we're going to let you go and let you know. Keep looking and watching P2G's Money Talks because we've got lots